This was the moment 1 day ago as the first COVID shot in the state was given here in Grand Rapids.
Dr. Mark McClelland was the first to be vaccinated. Today he talked with News 8's Emily Linner.
All right, Dr. McClelland, so tell me, everybody wants to know, 1 day later, how do you feel?
Feel good. I feel good. Physically speaking, I have a little bit of a sore arm where the injection was given. Very similar to really any other vaccine. But otherwise, no symptoms. Feel fine, totally fine.
I think that's really one of the concerns of a lot of people is, 1 day later, how are you feeling? Would you compare it to the flu shot, how you feel the day after maybe?
I would say very, very similar, essentially identical feeling. Yeah.
What do you want people to know about the vaccine?
Yeah, so I only have clearly my own personal experience is just one, but it was very easy, very quick, at the time relatively painless, and with 1 day under my belt, so far doing well. From sort of an overall standpoint, the data for it looks really quite promising. The study had around 40,000 patients who volunteered. The data looks like it's quite effective, on the order of 95% effective in reducing risk of getting COVID. And the side effect profile looked very acceptable and similar to what we'd see with any other vaccine that's similar. So overall, I would say very positive.
Tell me about what you've seen in your work the last 9 months as a pulmonologist and as a critical care worker. What have you seen? And then let's start with that.
Yeah, so it's been, needless to say, it's been very, very challenging. It's been very stressful being a healthcare worker right now. We've seen a lot of patients with COVID, and in particular, what I do in the intensive care unit is taking care of patients who are quite sick with COVID, mostly people on ventilators. It's hard. It's been taxing on all of us in the healthcare field. These patients are very sick. Often it takes a long time for them to get better, and sadly, many of them don't. It's hard emotionally to take care of them. It's hard because they can't have visitors. So it's been very challenging on both the patients and the families, not being able to have that healing family interaction that's so important. So it's been, and then obviously the volume's been very high. We've had to work much more than usual. We've had to pull extra help in from people that don't traditionally take care of ICU patients. From that standpoint, the teamwork has been amazing, and I'm constantly inspired by my colleagues and coworkers who've all pitched in and done a just phenomenal job. But it's definitely been very challenging.
Because of what you've seen, did that play a factor in you wanting to roll your sleeve up first for this vaccine?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Definitely. Having lived through this and seen what I've seen, to me, it wasn't a hard decision, quite honestly. Between the vaccine looking, very promising, and from what I've lived through, and really what we've all lived through over the last several months, when I think about the upside versus the downside, which is always there with any new medical intervention, there's always risks and benefits. But I look at this one, the risks seem relatively small, especially given the very large trial that was just published and the excellent data, and the hard work that's been put into making this vaccine. When I look at the potential downside or risk of side effect, which is not zero, but small, and I think about the potential upside, which is huge, not just in terms of individually, but for protecting my family, protecting my coworkers, protecting my patients, and generally protecting the community, it was kind of a no-brainer.
You said yesterday when you got the vaccine that you were a bit emotional. Can you tell us about why?
Yeah, for sure. It was a very emotional moment, really for all of us there at that moment. I think for the whole nation, it was an emotional day. It feels like sort of the culmination of a lot of hard work. and a lot of sacrifice by just a lot of people. And I felt unbelievably grateful. Humbled and grateful are the words that come to mind when I think about being the recipient. And I just am super eager for everybody to have this opportunity. It's going to take time to roll it out. But I think that there's a lot of hope here. And so that's why, sort of all rolled into that moment, it was a very emotional time for all of us.
There are going to be people who will not want to get the vaccine. Speak to the people who are on the fence right now from, again, what you've seen, the emotions you just spoke of. What do you want to say to those people?
Yeah, that's an important question. Everybody's got to make their own decision about it. Certainly, it's not mandated. It's not even mandated for us healthcare workers in our system right now. I'd encourage people to look at the data. Definitely speak to your physician. It's going to be a personal decision. I get it. You know, if people are initially have some questions or some degree of skepticism with any new technology, I certainly understand that. I think as time goes on and more and more people get the vaccine and we see how everything goes, I think more and more people will warm to the idea. And then when we, again, think about that this is sort of the best alternative to doing nothing, I think over time people's attitudes will warm to it. But everybody's got to make that decision.
All right. Dr. McClellan, thank you for your work and thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.